Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Friday Charge from the Geek podcast. We're your hosts, Joel and Sebastian, and today, October 18th, 2024, we have a handful of topics to discuss, with our biggest topic being another sudden exit of a major charging hardware vendor. So let's plug in and get started. Jumping into the headline topic, another EV charger manufacturer dead. So NG, owner of the EV charging manufacturer EV.Box, has plans to liquidate the entire EV.Box group. It is unclear at this time what that means for hardware that's already in the ground, which EV.Box was founded in 2010 and claims to have supplied at this point over 500,000 charging points worldwide. They also had plans to manufacture hardware in the US as part of the Build America, Buy America program, and it's unclear as to what's going to happen with that now. I also had seen, like, at the beginning of October, they donated like 40 DC fast charge stations to, I believe, the state of Illinois to install at like state parks, rest areas, etc. Are those essentially bricks now? Who knows? And so I had an actual discussion question for this one. Do we think we're going to continue seeing consolidation in the EV charging industry with more and more of these kind of up-and-coming manufacturers closing their doors? Or do we expect the market to correct its course as EV infrastructure and EV sales continue to rise?
So, good question. So we've kind of seen three big ones. We've seen kind of FreeWire. Now a couple weeks ago we saw NLX, and now we have NG now. I kind of think we're going down a road with this. We're going to start seeing this happen. I mean, this kind of happens in the tech industry anyway. You have these up-and-comers, you have these newcomers, you have these startups, and then they get bought out or merge or stuff like that. Just kind of this how the whole tech business goes. And I kind of think we're going to start seeing the same thing from here. You're going to see these companies start to slowly dwindle down and merge with other ones, or not be able to keep up with the competition with tech and hardware and things like that, and just have to shut their doors. So yeah, I think we're going to continue to see it, especially now as we're starting to ramp up more charging infrastructures here in the States with the Inflation Reduction Act and things like that, and NEVI. So yeah, I kind of think that this is going to be a trend that we're going to keep seeing.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's like you said, it's this exact same thing happens in tech. You will have random products where a brand new manufacturer might enter in, and they might have very good, very compelling products. It's just really hard to fight against, the big players that are already well established. It's hard to fight against a Tesla or SK High or SK Signet or BTC or manufacturers that are already being used by the biggest charging networks like Electrify America and Shell Recharge and EVgo, Delta's EVgo. So yeah, I think
Kempower coming on over now and things like that. We're starting to get more and more of these big players in the game.
For example,
Alpitronics,
which Alpitronic and Kempower are both huge manufacturers overseas already. They already have all these connections, whatever. They're just now actually going to be building in America, which is great. I think we saw a lot of rapid fire growth in the EV kind of charging space, because I think it was one of those people they were just fire hosing, right? Anyone who thought they could build one was going to build one because maybe they would get lucky. They would get lucky and their hardware would take off. And I think we're kind of starting to see the after effect of that, of not everyone can exist in this space.
Yeah. Same thing we saw, 10, 15 years ago with cell phones. You don't see Nokia anymore. Motorola's still around, but not a big player.
Yeah, you don't see HTC. You don't see, any of those kind of... They made flagship phones. They made good phones, but they just couldn't compete ultimately with Samsung, Apple, Google, etc.
Yep. Totally agree.
All right.
BlackBerry, same thing.
Yep. Moving on, Nissan has actually announced plans for, they had previously announced that they were going to be switching to NACS, but they have put a date on it now. So Nissan is planning for NACS and supercharger access by the end of 2024, and to put NACS ports on their vehicles at some point in 2025. So as part of this announcement, they have announced the plan to launch what they're calling the Nissan Energy, in all caps, charge network, which will allow Aria owners and future models, sorry Leaf owners, y'all don't get this fun stuff, or at least not currently. Maybe they'll do some Leaf refresh and change the port on it. We'll see. But the Nissan Energy Charge Network will allow owners to find chargers, pay, check availability, etc. from the My Nissan app, and Nissan is currently claiming that there are 90,000 chargers in this program.
Wow.
Now, they do not mention anything about plug and charge in this. So is it just on the app on your phone? Because I don't know. It's on one hand, I guess you only need one app, which is nice.
Yep.
But on the other hand, you could also probably just use the charging provider's app, especially when you start looking at stuff kind of like, for example, we see on the Ford network. Ford Charge. Sorry, I forgot the name of it for a second. Yep. Where you can do plug and charge in Electrify America, but there's no way to do plug and charge and get the discounted membership rate, or the same thing, Tesla superchargers. So I wonder if that's what we'll see with this as well. But anyway, moving on. Nissan is planning to make available the NACS adapter by the end of this year, and at some point in 2025, we'll switch to a native NACS port. However, Nissan has not announced at all whether they charge for what they're going to charge for the adapter, if they're going to charge for it, how they're going to distribute it, etc. Tesla has also quietly added Nissan to the list of automakers coming soon on the NACS website, on their NACS website.
So yeah, I think late 24, early 25 is when we're going to start seeing the snowball effect. That same time Kia's, Hyundai, they're coming out with theirs. Now we see Nissan. We're kind of running out of manufacturers now, except for some of the German cars, which they'll probably be the last holdouts for these due to their partnership with EA. So yeah, I think this is going to start seeing a snowball effect to where you'll see Nissan, you'll see Hyundai, Kia. We already seen Rivian. We already seen GM, Ford. You're going to start seeing this snowball effect. I hope for Nissan owners they give it. They get one for free. As a Kia owner, I'm not looking forward to having to dish out $200 for an adapter, which is probably why I'll probably just use yours and to test with. So yeah, that's good. I'm kind of glad we're all switching over to one port. If we can do it for our cell phones now with the new Apple phones coming out, where everyone's going to USB-C, we can do it for our EVs too.
So what I'm hearing is you want a USB-C on your EV. There's another standard right there. Boom.
There's another standard right there. Yep. USB-C.
I think there's a relevant XKCD for that.
Yes.
All right. Moving on to the ID.Buzz, everyone's favorite electric minivan. Also everyone's only electric minivan, or at least in the US. Volkswagen has announced a new charging plan for it. So as the ID.Buzz is getting closer and closer to customer deliveries, which at this point I believe are literally any time now, Volkswagen USA has announced how they plan to implement the charging benefits for this new model. So the ID.Buzz will include 500 kilowatt hours of complimentary charging at Electrify America, as well as 3 years of EA's Pass Plus membership, which will benefit discounted rates on EV charging. This is a departure from what we saw with the ID.4, which originally provided 3 years of free 30-minute DC fast charge sessions at EA, or you could do 60 minutes on a level 2 station. So the discussion question here is, do we think this is a reasonable plan to kind of alleviate the biggest problem with the free charging plans? With that problem being that these free charging plans incentivize people to not go through the effort to install home charging and then just sit at a DC fast charger all the time when they don't need to.
So yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I'm glad that 500 I was okay. I can live with. Kia gave me and my wife 1,000 hours of charging at a superstation for 3 years, and we've only been to a superstation because we don't take our car much to travel. 4 times, so I'm still sitting like 920 minutes or something like that of charging. So, but we've all been there. We've all seen the ID.4 or something similar to that in the Nissan. The Volkswagen and Volkswagen group. Just sit at these chargers forever because they have free charging. Sit there for hours trying to get to 100%. They don't care. They're not getting idle fees.
Yep.
They're just going to sit there and charge all day. So I'm glad we have a limit of 500. I like the discounted rate for charging in the app.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the way we need to go. Something like that, or similar to what Ford's doing with the home installs. So yeah, it's a step forward. It's a small step forward, but it's a step forward.
So yeah, I agree. I think 500 kilowatt hour is actually a good amount. So
Hmm.
that works out to, if it's a 90 something, I think 93 kilowatt hour usable pack, that was equivalent to charging the car from dead to full like 5 times in a bit.
Yep. Hmm.
So, I mean, in theory, if you're going to DC fast charge a lot, you'll get through it quickly, and then you'll be able to actually reap the benefit of the 10 to 20% discount you get by having Pass Plus. So, I think that's perfectly fair. I think it'll also help, again, people will maybe actually try to install chargers at home instead of just relying on the fact that they can go to the EA station however many times they want for the course of 3 years, and plug in for 30 minutes, unplug. I wouldn't be surprised if they could just then move stalls, plug back in, and then get another 3 session. I don't know if
Yep.
that's how it works. I'm just assuming things at this point. But yeah, I think this is a good first step. I think 500 kilowatt hour ultimately is a good number. I almost would rather see, though, just do the Pass Plus membership.
Yep.
Maybe instead of 3 years of Pass Plus, do 5 years of Pass Plus,
Hmm.
and then no free tier. But hey, we're working on it. We're getting there.
Baby steps.
Baby
Baby
steps.
steps. Yep.
All right. The 2025 GMC Sierra EV has seen a range bump and a cheaper entry price. So this is surprising to me from two aspects. A, the Sierra EV literally just went on sale for the 2024 model year.
Yeah. Already making
so
changes 1 year in.
We're already making changes.
Yep.
Siri just started talking to me. Sorry.
Yep.
So like the 2025 Silverado, the new Sierra has seen a bump in range, but the Max Pack has not changed in chemistry or size. They have also, like the Silverado, added the ability to get a middle size pack, which they're calling extended range. And you can get that pack on the Denali trim, which is currently the only trim available on the Sierra, and it's the top of the line trim. The extended range version will start at $91,995, and the max range will start at $100,495, which is about a $10,000 price cut for the extended range, which, if it's similar to the Silverado, only loses you like 60 miles of range.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly, as revealed by Kyle Connor from Out of Spec, GM engineers are claiming the range bump is due to just improved motor design and inverters. And so the question on this is, do we think we will see more automakers move to a model of incrementally improving their vehicles year over year compared to just waiting for like the typical mid-cycle refresh or second generation vehicle?
Good point. I mean, you can't get more, the one way there's two ways to get your car, multiple ways to get your car efficient. One is what kind of, GM did with the Denali and kind of tweaked the battery modes. The other way is aerodynamics. So they're probably not going to do much with releasing a car just within the last year. Not going to change it body style wide to get any more aerodynamics. So you're going to have to find ways within the motor and things like that to make the car go farther, to get a little more range out of it. I hope they do. I hope we start seeing this from other automakers after a year and a half saying, hey, listen, we can get you another 15, 20, 30 miles by just tweaking, the motors a little bit and things like that. So I think it's cool.
I think it's exciting to see some legacy automakers actually adopt this mindset, because, this is a mindset we've seen with Tesla or Rivian or whatnot for a while, of just, making changes to production live for the better usually.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's cool to see legacy automakers start to do this, because typically legacy auto, once they release a car that first year, the only changes they're going to do are very, very minor stuff on the inside, right? They're not going to really change the powertrain or anything throughout the production run until they get to kind of that natural, oh, this model's been on sale for 2 years or 3 years now. We're going to tweak a little bit.
Yep.
And then in 3 more years, we'll do a full-on refresh, new generation model. And so I think it's cool to see these legacy automakers like GM apparently now doing, and we've seen Ford do this on Lightning and Mach-E over the course of years. Mach-E, there was like that 2023.5 model year where they changed a bunch of little stuff just in the middle of the model year, didn't say anything, didn't make a big hoopla about it. Just people started getting Mach-E's and they just noticed, this is a little different. And then, kind of deal. So I think it's cool to see these legacy automakers adopting the kind of more light on their feet approach to just kind of make the best car you can.
Yep.
And make it when you can. Not, you don't have to wait for whatever. Just when you're ready, just do it.
Yep. If the tech's there and you've already got it done, just go ahead and do it. It's going to be a benefit to your customers. And that's what customers are noticing. Like, hey, I don't have to wait 5 years for a refresh. I only have to wait 1.5 years or things like that. So they know that way customers know you're invested in the product. It's not, here's what we put out. If you want something else, well, sorry, I wait 5 years, 6 years till we do it again. And then there's no investment into it for software updates or anything like that. So yeah, kudos to GM. Good job.
Speaking of GM, kind of.
Yeah.
The Honda Prologue is doing surprisingly well. Now, I don't mean that backhanded or any sort of way. I have not driven the Prologue. I love the way it looks. I think it's a good-looking car, and it's a Honda, so I imagine it's people that like Hondas are obviously going to like it, and I think that is the big kind of selling point for it. But for Q3 2024, the Honda Prologue was the 5th best-selling EV in the US, behind the Model Y at number 1, the Model 3 at number 2, the Cybertruck at number 3, and the Mach-E at number 4. So for Q3, Honda sold 12,644 Prologues and has sold 14,179 year to date. So most of the sales are from Q3. Now, I don't know quite exactly when the Prologue actually went on sale. I don't know how much of 2024 it's been on sale for, and that might be part of the numbers. But still, it's 14,000 or 12,000 in the quarter in the EV space is a solid effort. It's not close to Tesla yet. I think Model Y, Model 3 are still in the 50 to 60,000 vehicles in the quarter. But still, it's impressive to see that. Now, the GM relation is just because the Prologue was the child of the now ended partnership, the divorce of GM and Honda. The Prologue is an Ultium vehicle, and it shares the platform and many components with the Blazer and Equinox.
So yeah, so just looking at it, it does look, kind of, CRV-ish. I mean, it does have that look to it. And the one thing we know, we just got done talking to Patrick and Liv from the Mach-E, the Mach-E V blog. There are some hardcore Honda people out there where that's all they want. They're Honda. Same thing with Toyotas. They're hardcore. It doesn't matter how bad the BZ4X is. If it's made by Toyota, they're going to get it.
Yep.
So, I mean, looking at it's not a bad looking car. Like I said, we haven't driven one yet. We hope to drive one here in the future. So I'm just glad someone else is bringing up another EV and making sales. So competition is great.
And on that subject, EV sales have reached a new record for Q3 2024. Yay. So in Q3, automakers sold 346,000 EVs, which was an increase of 5% over Q2. More importantly, EVs accounted for 8.9% of total auto sales in Q3, which is the highest percentage they have ever accounted for on record. Also for Q3, GM is now the second best selling EV brand behind Tesla. However, year-to-date, Hyundai Motor Group is still number 2.
Yep.
So this I didn't have a lot of notes on. I just thought it was cool to see that we're almost to that 10% market share mark, because then 10% turns into 15%, turns into 20%, turns it, it snowballs. Because again, we mentioned this previously when we were recording earlier. As more and more and more of these things get on the road, and more and more people see it, the stigma kind of will continue to fade away. If all of these people can make it work, then why can't I? Type deal, And so I'm just excited to see that, this percentage is just going up and going up.
Yeah. And I'm just excited to see new EVs on the road. For the last couple of years, we've been kind of just looking at, Tesla, Hyundais, Kias. That's what you kind of saw on the road. Now it's nice seeing Chevys and Prologues and things like that, going down the road, because it's more variety out there.
It's variety. Yep.
Yes. And it's awesome to see, and I hope these numbers keep going up. I'm proud. GM they took a hit for a while there. They were kind of in the bottom feeders of the EV market for a while, but now they got their game together, and now they're slowly making a climb back up. So yeah, this is awesome. Hopefully this is we did talk earlier a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, about EV sales declining. And they weren't technically declining. They just weren't going up as fast as people thought they would. Instead of going up 3, 4, 5% a year, maybe they only go up 1 or 2% a year. So I'll be curious to see how this all shakes out in Q4, and what the overall market looks like at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I mean, the decline, I think hopefully we're getting out of, because again, the Honda Prologue has not been on sale very long, and it's already, in the top 5 for EVs being sold right now as a new model. That's 12,000 more cars that have been sold that previously didn't exist.
Mhm.
And so it's just exciting, right?
Yep. It's exciting.
All right. Well, that is a wrap for today, Friday, October 18th. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. Be sure to subscribe to the EV Geek podcast on YouTube and tap the notification icon to be notified about new releases. We have some great content that released this week, including tips on purchasing your first EV and an interview with ACDI Energy and more. There's all sorts of great stuff. Over 50 episodes now.
Just go back and look at them all. Just hit that play button, watch them all. Yep.
If you have any thoughts or questions, be sure to drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. So long, everyone, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Friday Charge.